If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the Unbossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Columbus City Council, they had a council meeting last night about these no-knock warrants and whether they're going to limit them or whether they're going to ban them altogether. I want to play this really quick news clip from NBC4 so we can talk about it and so the viewers can have more context.
New at 11, the use of no-knock warrants is being questioned after the death of Breonna Taylor in Louisville back in March. No-knock warrants have been banned there. And NBC4's Eric Halperin is live outside Columbus City Hall tonight. And Eric, the city is now taking a hard look at those kinds of warrants too, right?
Colleen, City Council plans to vote on 4 police reform-related proposals in about a week and a half. One of those proposals is about limiting or banning no-knock warrants. And tonight, Council questioned and talked to police about those warrants. With a no-knock warrant, police do not have to knock or announce their presence before going into a building. In Columbus, the SWAT team and Investigative Tactical Unit, or INTAC, can perform these kinds of warrants.
I think the surprise factor gives us a tactical advantage, and it takes away the opportunity for the suspect to consider other options or to get to their guns in order to engage in a gun battle.
The SWAT team did not do any no-knock warrants in 2019. According to Columbus Police, the INTAC unit, which focuses on drug cases, served 331 warrants in 2019. 92 of them, or about 28%, were no-knock, and no suspects were injured.
Not serving no-knock warrants also allows dangerous suspects to continue their drug trafficking activity, plaguing neighborhoods.
We want to remove drugs and weapons that are unlawfully possessed out, get them off of the streets. But I also don't want that to be at the expense of a resident's, one of our residents' life or the life of an officer.
During Thursday's virtual hearing, council questioned police about why not waiting for suspects to come out, who else is in a suspected house, and what's done to ensure police have the correct address.
Legislating away no-knock warrants will increase danger to both our employees and the public.
Councilmember Emmanuel Ramey led Thursday's hearing.
They've done better than what might have been seen in other municipalities, for instance. However, I think there's opportunity to tighten it up. At this point, we're looking probably more along the lines of limiting. I mean, there are certainly extenuating circumstances where no-knock warrants make sense.
And Deputy Chief Becker said a suspect has not been fatally shot in decades during a no-knock warrant, and that officers have been shot and injured 5 times. Body cams were also talked about tonight. Becker says that right now the INTAC unit and SWAT teams do not use body cameras, but they are requesting council's approval to get them. Local for you at City Hall, I'm Eric Halperin, NBC4.
All right.
So the summation of that is they're considering it, but what got me is what the deputy chief said, that they don't want to quite get rid of them because they use them as a tactical advantage. But if that's what police departments utilize no-knock warrants for as a tactical advantage, what tactical advantage did they have over Breonna Taylor when they put all those bullets in her?
Yeah, I mean, tactical advantage that's a completely different conversation than making the right call, you know, because a tactical advantage could also mean that you have your gun pointed at somebody who's now reaching for a gun. So now it's a life and death situation. So you have to pull the trigger. And then you can only sort it out after the smoke clears to find out that, hey, you just killed somebody that you weren't even looking for.
No, but you know what's interesting is that the deputy chief also said in that to council last night, or to the committee, whichever you choose to call them. He said, and I quote, I'm reading it verbatim as how he said it, that a suspect has not been fatally shot in decades during no-knock warrants, and that 5 detectives have been shot. So is it right that they can do no-knock warrants and not kill anybody? Is basically what he's saying, that you can do a no-knock warrant. We're going to continue to do them here in Columbus because nobody's been killed in all these years, but our detectives have, so we're going to continue to do them. Or am I taking that out of context?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much sounds like the logic that he was using, the logical progression of his argument. Yeah.
Now, I should note that he also did say what happened in Louisville, Kentucky, with Breonna Taylor being murdered was a horrible tragedy. But he also threw shade on the situation, and he didn't quote her name. He threw shade at the situation by saying, but things are not done here like they were in Louisville.
So what do you think would have happened if Breonna would have happened to been able to get the drop on the officers and would have killed one of the officers? And by some miracle or some turn of situation.
What do you mean by if Breonna was able to get the drop?
Well, let's just imagine that they did the no knock, and then somehow or another, the people in the house were able to defend themselves, killing an officer, and the rest of the officers retreated. I'm saying, given that scenario, so the people in the house live in this scenario, are they then charged with murder, do you think?
Of course. They were black.
So
they were going to be charged with murder.
Mm.
Do you see the officer that put the bullets in there? Do you see any of them? Have they been fired? Have they been arrested? It's been over 100 days. So we could play devil's advocate all day, but this story isn't getting enough attention about Breonna Taylor. And that's why we need to continue to push it and to talk about it in whatever way we can. Just keep getting that out there, because people need to know that the Louisville Police Department, they murdered an innocent woman for no reason. But not only did they murder her, they have still yet to do anything major to rectify that problem by arresting, or let alone not even arresting, but by just charging the officer who did it. They said, yeah, we'll get to it. We might not, but we know they aren't getting to it. Been over 100 days. I rest my case. Any final comments right here?
So how does that translate to Columbus? I mean, obviously we have no knock warrants that are being executed in Columbus, but do you think that, given that people haven't been killed in Columbus in over a decade, is there a reasonable pushback? Should people in Columbus be upset? Where should we be?
No, personally, I don't think in any city no knock warrants should be done. Personally, because they are dangerous, both for both parties, for the police department and their highly trained officers, and for the people on the other side of the door. Because also, what happens is, with no knock warrants, is there's a couple other things that, just like what happened in Breonna's situation, you got to make sure you got the right address. And if all you're told is this kingpin drug dealer is on the opposite side of that door, or put it to you this way. If I told you Osama Bin Laden was on the other side of the studio door and you were the police, and I said I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt he was there, would you knock or would you take it?
Take it?
Like just taking the door, no knock.
If who was on the other side of the door?
I just threw out the name Osama Bin Laden.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of
and you're the police. Maybe too far out there example, but it still gets to the point of what I'm making, whether it's Osama bin Laden or an EMT like Breonna Taylor. We, the police, they need to understand that no knock warrants, you shouldn't do them. There's too much risk involved. Now, last year, it's worth noting in 2019, there were 331 warrants served here in Columbus. And out of those, 92 of them were no knock warrants. So that's 3.5% roughly. A little more than 3.5%, right around that. They were no knock warrants and no suspects were injured.
Well, it sounds like we got some people, city council members on board. Shayla Favors, says it's something that if it is going to be amended, this is the time to do it. I guess she's referring to the protests and everything.
Yeah, but why did somebody have to lose their life for them to?
Well, I mean, it's not an issue until it's an issue, right?
True, and this is what needs to change. There needs to be overwhelming, and this has been said for years, overwhelming police reform done, but nobody wants to have that conversation. And when we talk about defund,
what do you mean when you say nobody wants to have that conversation? Who are the people? Because some people do.
No,
who are the
no.
people
When I say nobody, who I'm referring to is the people who can change it. So, like city council, it came right out of her mouth that now is the time to have the conversation. Well, only reason she believes now is the time to have the conversation is because Breonna Taylor is dead. But what if, for example, what if this happened to one of her nieces or nephews or sisters or something like that? Or what if it was Shayla Favors herself, a sitting councilwoman? It's too late to have the conversation once somebody's gone. But like you just said, it's not a problem until it's a problem, even though it's a problem.
Right. So we also see the deputy police chief saying it's a bad idea that is going to put employees, I'm assuming he's talking about officers, in danger. But even though it seems like officers are the people who are being put in the most danger by the, but obviously people in their homes, statistically, you could say
I'm gonna tell you
into a dangerous situation.
If based off the neighborhood that I live in, it's a good neighborhood. Been living there my whole life. It's not your 992010 neighborhood. It's not Bexley or nothing like that, but it's good. We know each other. We love each other. If the police roll up on my house at 3 a.m. and take our door, I'm going to do exactly what Breonna Taylor's boyfriend did and defend our house. Because it's not the issue of them knocking, but it's the issue of them announcing themselves. That's what's got me so riled up is, all right, you don't knock. That's fine and dandy, but you need to be saying it's police, or something. Make your presence known. And that's the real issue with these no-knock warrants is that your presence isn't made known.
Well, what it's ultimately doing is letting us know that police don't really have any checks and balances. They can do whatever they want. And I hear you when we're talking about the city council members and the people that people that have the power to make legislative changes. But we also seen what happened, how quick we started seeing reform in Minnesota when a few days of peaceful protesting. How that can kind of just change the narrative, But I mean, I'm not.
No, but they had the thing about that and why we've seen change so quickly is because that was the second brother who had to die. We cannot forget about brother Philando Castro.
Well, yeah, I'm not exactly, and I'm not advocating violence. I'm just. I'm making a point. That
I know you aren't advocating violence, but here, let's put it like,
make things happen. We ultimately, as citizens, have a voice that there's 50 times more citizens than all the police, elected officials, even the military.
Yeah, here, I'm put it to you this way. Sometimes, man, we can't be Dr. King. Sometimes you got to be Stokely Carmichael, SNCC, Black Panthers, and Malcolm X all in one to see some change done. That's just the way it is. You have to adapt Malcolm's mantra by any means necessary.
Absolutely. Because people are literally dying. Like this is a conversation about life and death. And it's interesting that I'm actually kind of blown away that people are still talking about peaceful protests when we're talking about homicide. It's like on one side we're talking about murders, and people are peacefully asking to stop being murdered. But that's not going to always be the case.
Exactly. And we're gonna I'm gonna show a video here later on in the show about the LAPD and how they just obliterated this man in this wheelchair and really didn't care. And that same thing is going on right now in the Columbus Police Department. I'm telling you how much I've seen, and all cops aren't bad. Don't get me wrong. All cops are not bad. I have family that are police officers here within CPD. All cops are not bad. It's just those one or two that are. But for example, when we're out there tomorrow, case in point, we're going to see the police taking and doing whatever the hell they want to do at that rally / protest tomorrow.
We're gonna be talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be an interesting day.
We're gonna be live down there the whole time. We're gonna take them alone. We are.
Just in case people aren't aware, tomorrow there's going to be a march at the same time, same place, with a Black Panther group, I think, is organizing one of the marches. And I actually saw the group that alt-right is what I'm going to call them. I'm not exactly sure.
They are the KKK.
They were described as the KKK.
They are the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys are the KKK.
Hoping that it's not.
No.
Check this out.
Let's not sugarcoat it.
There's this guy that's running for Congress. He's actually challenging Joyce Beatty in the congressional race in November. And I met him. He seemed like a okay dude. He did say some kind of Trumpian things, but I like to, especially
he's giving him the benefit
just
of the doubt.
I worked on a campaign in this past in the primary, in this year's primary. So I have a reason to pay a lot of attention to what's going on in Congress. And I am unsatisfied with our current congressional leadership. Very supportive of Morgan Harper, obviously. So then Mark Richardson found out he's running as a Republican, and I'm not the person that's necessarily bound to any party.
I'm with you. Same thing.
So I wanted to give the guy a fair shake, and just see what his platform was, see what kind of person he was. And I met him, decent guy. But then when I found out that he's speaking at this alt-right event, that kind of puts a different. I'm not sugarcoating or giving the guy a pass or anything. I'm just wanting to give everybody some perspective from my point of view. He seemed like
the KKK.
Decent.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. Just submit a request on our website. Don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.